In this video, we'll show you how to use Reddit to get your brand into AI answers without getting cancelled the way Nissan was 10 years ago, using tips from a real experiment that our team ran over 3 months. We'll also cover why your AI visibility strategy can't skip Reddit anymore and how to tell if any of it is actually working. Our community lead Bogdan tracked almost 500 Reddit posts, checking every time an AI answer cited one as a source. We counted over 7,000 citations, and just 42 posts pull almost half of them, showing up over and over, the ones AI keeps circling back to. And they're not the posts you would bet on. Upvotes had almost nothing to do with it. Now there are two halves to this: getting cited and not getting torn apart while you try. Because you can know exactly what AI wants and still tank your brand overnight. Push your product where it's not wanted and people pile on it, and that threat follows you around. Just ask War Robots. An agency faked around 100 organic Reddit posts for them, bragged about it, and got caught. That pile-on threat is now the top search result. Good news is that the spammy version doesn't work anyway. The data is pretty clear on what does. But first, why Reddit at all? Because right now it's fitting the exact models you are trying to show up in. You have probably heard Reddit sign contact deals with both OpenAI and Google. Those threads are now training data. Reddit is now the second most cited domain in AI answers, and its share has roughly doubled since November. Over on Google, Reddit is holding more than 10% of the top 3 spots after May core update. Then June spam update rolled through, and those usually shake out the sites that don't deserve their spots. Most domains that got hit drop a few positions. Reddit didn't move. Now, one thing to set expectation on. When we say AI search here, we mostly mean Google's. Reddit pays off most on Google's AI surfaces, and in AI mode, it sometimes lifts a line straight out of thread and drops it into the answer, word for word. Picture that line being about your product. And this next one, good news if you are not a big brand. Our AI mode study found that sites with heavy Reddit mentions pull almost twice as many citations as sites with barely any. For smaller sites, those mentions do the same job that backlinks and massive traffic do for the big players. So why does any of this happen? Reddit is full of people with no reason to lie to you and who'll shred anyone who does. Same reason you have probably typed best AI tool for marketing Reddit into Google to skip the affiliate blocks. But that cuts both ways. Say revolutionary, game-changing, best solution on the market, and you get spotted and buried. Reddit works because nobody's selling, which is exactly why you can't show up selling. So the real question is this: if AI is already pulling from Reddit threads in your niche, how do you make sure it's pulling from the one that helps you? That comes down to a handful of patterns we have uncovered while running the experiment. And while you're here, hit subscribe for fresh marketing trends, real experiments, industry insights, and modern SEO workflows. Okay, the biggest pattern had nothing to do with better posts. It came down to stability. Posts that turned up in every one of 6 checks got cited around 52 times more than the ones that pop up once and vanished. 42 posts out of 482 manage it. That's it. So flip your instinct. You want to write something brilliant and hope AI picks it up, but AI already got its favorites and keeps scrolling back to the same ones. Your fastest way in is getting your answer into a thread that's already getting cited. You can find these threads by hand, running the same prompts across, let's say 4 different chatbots every couple of weeks, and logging what comes back. Or SE Rankings AI Results Tracker does it for you automatically. It shows which sources AI is pulling from for the prompts you track, so cited Reddit thread in your niche land on the list instead of being a hunch. More on that in a bit. 2 things before we jump into specific threads rule. Check the subreddit rules, because plenty ban brand mentions and mods enforce it. And your brand can be the point of the comment. Lead with something useful. Mention the product only if it fits. Shameless plugging gets downvoted, and a buried comment isn't getting cited by anything. By the way, Not every thread on that list is worth your time. Some are worth an afternoon, most aren't, and the tell is sitting right there in the title. Threads with the question in the title got cited way out of proportion to how many they were. A question is a promise that there is a straight answer in the comments. That's what AI is fishing for. It wants something it can lift. So, don't obsess over the post body. The title is what gets the thread pull in the first place, which means the title matters in two different situations. When you are looking for threads to join and when you are writing your own. Hunting for threads to join, filter for question title first. Those are your live candidates. Posting yourself, writing the title the way your customer would type it. Not thoughts on invoicing tools, more like, what is the cheapest invoicing tool that feels practical? Now you are thinking the next move is stacking upvotes. Nope. Upvotes barely move the needle. We went in assuming high karma posts would dominate AI citation. They didn't. AI systems showed no real preference for the highly upvoted stuff. The most common upvote count among cited posts was about 10. 10, not 1,000, not a front page moment. 10. So all the energy people spend trying to game the upvote count for AI visibility is aimed at the wrong target. Inside Reddit, upvote decide what humans see. Outside Reddit, in AI search, they're close to noise. But comments are non-negotiable. Now be careful here, because we did not find a clear correlation between more comments equals more AI visibility. Piling on 500 comments won't rank you, but here's what we did find. Every single cited post had comments. We found 0 side posts with 0 comments. So chase replies instead of votes, which also kills the manipulation playbook, by the way. A vote count is easy to game, a real conversation much less so. So leave room for someone to add something. Ask for a follow-up, take a position somebody is going to want to argue with. That's what gets you quoted. A small thread with real discussion beats a viral one without. But none of this works if you are posting in the wrong place or the wrong way. So tip number 4, direct post beat cross-post by a mile. Cross-posting feels efficient. One thread, spread it around, cover more ground. But it barely shows up in the cited set. So if you want to move an answer, put your effort into original post in the community that own the conversation and build a discussion there. And yes, most of the heavy hitters did come from the subs over 100K, but size isn't what's doing the work. Bigger communities just generate more of the engagement AI actually reads. So smaller subs can still compete as long as discussion is real. And notice the pattern here. Spraying the same post everywhere, chasing the biggest subs, that's the shortcut version. And the data says it doesn't land. The next tip is all about timing, because it matters just as much, and getting it wrong wastes more effort than any of these tactics combined together. 2 ways this goes wrong. First, archive threads. You may already know that after a while, Reddit locks all threads. Nobody can comment on them or change what is already there. But AI still reads those threads and still cite them. So if a locked thread says something wrong about your brand, you can fix it. That's why it's worth finding those threads early while you can still add your side of the story. The second thing is patience. Every thread pulling real weight in our data was at least a couple of months old. A few posts get picked up within a day, but that's rare. So if you post something, check back 2 weeks later, see nothing, and decided Reddit doesn't work, you have given up before there was even anything to see. Most influential posts were at least 3 months old, so give it 3 months before you judge it. And let's be honest, a thread can tick every box we just went through and still never turn up in AI answer. These are patterns worth acting on, not a formula anybody should promise a client. Now let's pull the whole thing together. First, start with that source list from earlier. In the AI results tracker, the sources report shows which domains AI is leaning on for the prompts you are tracking across AI overviews, AI mode, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini. Then apply the mention opportunities filter. That's the one that surfaces prompts where Reddit is cited and your brand doesn't appear in the answer at all. Then run the same check on a competitor. If Reddit is feeding answer about them, not you, that's a gap with a name on it. Just look at it across a few weeks rather than one afternoon. Citations bounce around, and a single snapshot will give you chasing noise. Now pull up the actual threads behind those citations and read them. Is the title a question? How deep do the comments go? Is it a direct post or a cross post? You already know what to look for. So this is where those patterns stop being trivia. They tell you what a citable answer to the specific prompt looks like, so you are not guessing at what to write. Then write the responses as real content, not every package ad. Depending on the gap, that's either a genuine contribution to the thread, an article that answered the same question more directly than the cited thread does, or both. That's a plannable job, our sister product. It handles blog content too, not just social, so you can draft it, get it reviewed and approved, and keep the whole thing in one place. And if you have got both SEO ranking and plannable connected through MCP, this collapses into one conversation. Pull the source data, check competitor citation, draft the response, all without leaving Claude. Then come back to SEO ranking once it's live. Did the citation gap close? Did the competitor source lose ground on that prompt? That's how you know it worked. And that's part that makes this loop instead of one-off. And one last thing, once you're running that loop, Reddit won't be the only gap it finds. The same sources report will show you run-ups that leads 10 of your competitors and skip you completely. And getting added to one of those can land in about 48 hours instead of the couple of months a Reddit thread needs. That's one of 3 routes into ChatGPT sources set. And we walk through all of them in this video. Watch that next.